Hi, this is Graham Weimiller, Chairman and CEO of BNI. We want to welcome you to BNI's Master Connector presentation. Today we have a panel of experts here to help make your business more successful. And as we know, when your business is successful, you have a chance to have a positive impact on your community and many, many others around you. So we welcome you to this Master Connector presentation. I would like to start out today by thanking our national directors who are co-sponsoring this event. Our national directors are excellent leaders that are there to support BNI members across BNI's 70 countries. So we thank each and every one of them. I would also like to say congratulations to not only our national directors, but also BNI members from across BNI's 70 countries. In addition to BNI's national directors, BNI members have been leading the way during BNI's 36th year. And it is amazing what BNI members have achieved throughout BNI's 36th year. When we think about the year of 2020, when many economies were on pause, BNI members were on fast forward. And they not only survived, but they thrived. And they did so by focusing on BNI's core values. And by doing so, they achieved well over $16 billion in closed business. Congratulations to each and every BNI member out there. They had a chance to collaborate and achieve 11.5 million referrals. As I always say, BNI members are the best economic stimulus package there is. The relationships that they help foster between business leaders around the world will create opportunities and jobs and revenue for years and years to come. So again, congratulations to every BNI member for your exemplary achievements in 2020, and that is continuing to grow in 2021. So congratulations. I also want to take a moment to note the history of achievement within the BNI network by BNI members who are so passionate about our core values, especially Giver's Gain. That focus on our philosophy of Giver's Gain has resulted in over $130 billion in closed business via over 130 million referrals, an amazing amount of economic activity that BNI members have made possible around the world. And so, as you can tell, on average, each BNI referral is worth over $1,000 in revenue. So keep up the great work. Keep focused on supporting members in your chapter. Keep focused on supporting BNI members around the globe, and we will continue to see these numbers grow. So let's begin today's broadcast about the Master Connector opportunity for each of you and the Connector Effect, a book that Dr. Ivan Meisner, Robert Strobe, and I recently wrote, which became an Amazon bestseller. The Connector Effect is all about how you can benefit those around you and have a more fulfilling and productive life as well. Today, I'll be hosting a panel of Master Connector experts. I would first like to introduce Robert Strobe. Robert is a marketing expert and has been for more than 25 years. He's helped thousands of businesses attract and, most importantly, retain really successful clients so that they can build sustainably successful relationships over the long term. One of the great things about Robert is his focus on simplification, something that I think all businesses and all of us need to focus on. And simplifying in regards to business process, but also messaging. And so he'll talk about that today. And while he's worked with entrepreneurs in over 100 business categories, today he specializes in helping businesses that specifically are looking to grow their recurring revenue base. And so we're really honored to have Robert Strobe with us today. And thank you, Robert, for being here. Next, I'd like to introduce Diana Ninsima Kabuka, BNI Uganda National Director, a terrific leader within the BNI family. Diana is truly a master connector in every respect. She's a commercial lawyer by background, having practiced law for over 14 years. And she's accustomed to closing deals in boardrooms, but also being a natural master connector in her community and across Uganda. Her introduction to BNI and what triggered her interest in finding out about BNI was a client saying to her, "You are BNI." And so she is. And we're very proud to have her as a senior leader within the organization. Networking is in her blood. And she is very passionate about supporting BNI members in Uganda, but across the world. She was awarded the BNI CEO Award at BNI's 2019 Global Convention and was named in the top 40 under 40 in her country. And she has also summited Mount Kilimanjaro. So Diana, great to have you here. Thank you for making the time to be with us on today's panel discussion. Next, I'd like to introduce the original Master Connector, Dr. Ivan Meisner. As most of you know, Dr. Meisner is the founder and chief visionary officer of BNI. He founded BNI 36 years ago, and it has become the largest and most successful networking organization in the world. He supports over 276,000 members in more than 70 countries. He's helped businesses grow through some of the most difficult times and help them be sustainably successful by focusing on their core values. And we really appreciate him being here today. He is a New York Times best-selling author who has written 26 books. It is with great pleasure that I present to you our founder and chief visionary officer, Dr. Ivan Meisner. Before we begin our panel discussion, we have a special video that I'd like to share with some great insights from Dr. Meisner. So here it is.
If there is only one person in a room, there are no relationships. If there are two people, there's one relationship between them. With three people, there are three relationships. But with four people, there are actually six relationships. With five people, there's 10 relationships. And if you have a strong network of, let's say, 50 people, there are actually 1,225 relationships. Having a room full of trusted business people working towards a common goal is a very powerful place to be. Having that many solid relationships in a room dramatically increases the opportunities for you.
So the video does a great job of illustrating how a network of people can connect you to others. And now we have a chance to ask the experts how all of us have the opportunity to become a master connector. And so with that, Ivan, I'd like to start with you. Please tell our members and other participants about the book and what the connector effect is all about.
So the connector effect is the effect that you have when you have the will and the ability to connect people for a common purpose. You become the bridge linking people together in a way that serves them all. As a young man, I discovered its power when we're going old school here, before the internet, I sent out letters to people that I met, to my clients, and I simply said, attached is a list of business professionals. And if you would like to connect with one of these categories, one of these professions, please contact me. And I put no names, no phone numbers. I just listed the profession. I wanted my contacts to reach out to me so that I could be the bridge, so that I could link them together. So for me, being a master connector is connecting people for a common purpose that will serve everyone.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dr. Meisner. And now let me go to Robert. Robert, tell us a little bit more about the connector effect and why it's really important for business people.
Well, thank you so much, Graham. And the connector effect is important because it is the single fastest way to grow a business today. Being able to be a master connector who finds someone who has a need and being able to match that person to someone who you can fulfill that need, you're literally creating money and value out of thin air simply by putting the people together that are able to do business. And really, it's a kind of modern day alchemy. And by being a master connector and the person who is able to, to be able to hear and really listen to the individuals around them, listening for opportunities to fulfill a need, solve a problem, being able to help that person in any way by giving them a referral to somebody within their network. You become somebody who attracts customers to you. They seek you out because they know that you're the person who has the answers. And not only that, passing referrals is the single fastest way to generate referrals. And so if you're become the person who within your community who is passing referrals, you're going to accelerate the rate at which you receive referrals, generate customers, and grow your
Excellent.
business.
So this is a powerful concept that can really be transformative for business people. That's what I'm hearing, and couldn't agree more. Let me go to Diana. Diana, you have been serving businesses. You have been a business leader. You are a business leader. You're supporting business leaders. How has the connector effect impacted your life, and how do you think it can impact the lives of members in Uganda, for example?
Thank you very much, Graham. So personally, the connector effect has exposed me to global leaders through the BNI network and beyond. And the most, it was very, very impactful when we had to shut down because of COVID. And so many leaders were sharing their experiences on how to deal with the lockdown, on how to go online, on how to keep members connected. And I didn't feel alone. I actually felt so many great people had gone before me, and I could step where they had stepped. And for my members, one of the things you need to know about Uganda is that we're a largely entrepreneur nation, where you have many young people starting businesses and even many older people getting out of formal employment and using their savings to start businesses. So one thing that I've definitely seen is that as these businesses come together and connect, they're able to stay strong, and they're able to withstand various economic and social storms. But also I've seen the birth of new businesses through the connector effect.
Outstanding. So networked businesses are more resilient, and they can become a bigger springboard to success, especially for entrepreneurs. Terrific. Absolutely. And Ivan, let me go to you. The book talks about becoming a master connector, of course. How would you best describe the characteristics of a master connector?
Three things. First, a master connector has 2 ears and 1 mouth and should use them both proportionately. They also should try to be more interested than interesting. Those are 2 important concepts to be a master connector. The second is that they understand that networking is more about farming than it is about hunting. It's about cultivating relationships and building trust. And the third is that they need to know that the process is a marathon, not a sprint. They understand that it's all about building relationships and that this takes time.
Absolutely. So this is not a get rich quick kind of scheme. This is a way to live and way to conduct yourself that can produce a more fulfilling life throughout life. So that's great. Terrific. Robert, you've had the opportunity to interview hundreds, if not thousands, of BNI members. What's the one thing from your perspective that master connectors all have in common?
Master connectors give first. They implement the core value of giver's gain by being the first to give a referral, to make a connection. And that in particular, when you make referrals and make connections within a BNI chapter, you're helping and building trust with people who are motivated, excited, and really able to give you referrals in return. And so master connectors throughout the world are people who give first, who make connections first, and pass referrals. But master connectors who do that within a BNI chapter see a much bigger return because the people they are connected with are motivated, trained, and excited to be able to pass referrals back to them.
Terrific. Excellent. Thank you, Robert. And Diana, being a great example of a master connector, what is an example of how being a master connector has benefited you in your life?
Interestingly, through being a master connector, I've been able to achieve one of my dreams, which was to climb Kilimanjaro. I remember walking into a BNI meeting in Nairobi, Kenya, and heading straight to the tour agent and asking, is it possible to get this dream ticked off my bucket list? And it was amazing because within 2 months from that date, I was able to tick it off. But for my members, I think one of the biggest and the most exciting thing has been opening up Uganda as a business destination to many BNI members across the world. And one exciting situation was when we hosted a team from the Champions chapter in BNI, and their logo, or rather they speak, business with heart, and being able to bring those members and host them in Uganda and create business opportunities for them in Uganda really was an amazing moment for me, because it showed me there's so much possibility. We can do so much more by connecting people.
Terrific. So beyond more referrals, beyond driving enhanced business growth, life experiences, and also just the ability to impact the community, that's terrific. Excellent examples. And so, Ivan, back to you. You've been a Master Connector for over 36 years. Share with us one of your amazing stories about how a BNI Master Connector transformed their life by applying the principles in the connector effect.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. And to be completely honest, I probably wasn't a Master Connector 36 years. I had to develop that skill over time. It's a developed skill. And I think for the first couple of years, I was probably method acting my way through the process of learning how to be that kind of connector. There are many stories I've heard. Here's one of my favorites. Years ago, I went to an awards banquet that was being done for BNI, and I was doing photographs with all of the winners. And one gentleman named Alan came up. He won the award for doing the most one-to-ones in the region, not just with his chapter, but with other members in chapters throughout that region. He did the most by far. I congratulated him. He went and sat down. Then a few minutes later, he was given another award. This award was for having given the most referrals in the region, not just his chapter, but in the region for the entire year. I thought that was amazing. And then a few minutes later, he got another award for his referrals turning into the most thank you for closed business. And at that point, I said, how? I'm curious. They were doing the next person. I said, I'm curious. You had a lot of one-to-ones. You got a lot of referrals. You gave a lot of business. How was your year? And he said, I'm having the best year of my career. And I've been doing this for more than a dozen years. He said there's a direct correlation between helping other people get business and business coming to me. By far, I had my best year ever. And to me, that's one of the best examples of what it's like to be a Master Connector. You help other people, and at the same time, it helps you.
Outstanding. What a fantastic story. So absolutely giver's gain. That is terrific. Dinah, let me come back to you. Maybe you could provide us a recent example of a BNI Master Connector in action.
Oh, thank you, Graham. So one example is a member who is in the events category. He's a wedding photographer, and in his own right, he has a following. He's a strong member. But one thing that I saw him do is when he joined BNI, he immediately sort of brought all the event teams for the different chapters together under one roof. And he said, guys, we can be stronger together. How do we synergize? How do we build relationships? And so in addition to the one-to-ones, which they used to do, they would go as a group to one member's venue and give ideas, and the member would have to present. But all this was driven by James. And COVID comes around and events, of course, shut down. And James says, guys, we can learn together. What can we learn? We can learn how to actually look into the finances of our business. So it went even beyond just going into looking for referrals. It went into going back into housekeeping. How do we make sure we thrive? How do we make sure we survive? And of course, my country has opened up again for the most part when it comes to events. And he's again still leading the team. And I've seen members' businesses grow much stronger, but he's also invited over 50 members to his chapter. He's also been able to get on board and visitors who became members. He's a Gold Club member, and he's really, really passionate that no member within his sphere should go without support in whatever form that may look like. And he's still winning in his personal space. So that's a great example for me.
I love that story. So in one way of thinking, those are competitors, but in BNI, those are other businesses in which they can collaborate as a team, and collaboration always leads to better outcomes. So what a great example, Diana. Thank you. And so, Robert, in your research, I know that you have studied hundreds of situations with BNI members and their testimonials. Can you give us an example of one Master Connector situation that really sticks out in your mind?
Yeah, Silvano Cohen from South Africa, who is featured in chapter 12 of the book, 99% of his business comes through BNI. And for him, he really talks about how it's an unfair advantage for him versus his competitors, that he's able to grow his business. And again, as a true master connector would, he talks about the more connections you make and the more you help your fellow members without expecting anything in return, the faster karma will sort you out. And he calls it karma. Here within BNI, it's giver's gain, and that's the real reality is that not the fastest path to growing your business is by passing referrals. And when you're passing referrals, you're solving problems for your friends, family, and customers. They're appreciating you. They want to they want to kind of repay the favor because you helped them out. And then at the same time, your chapter members trust you. They're dialing into your weekly presentations, and they want to give referrals because in order to to help you out because they received them from you. And just as Silvano talks about, that's the single fastest way of growing your business. BNI just helps you do it so much faster.
Those are all great examples of people becoming master connectors and having a really positive impact on those around them. So the question on everyone's mind now is, how do I become a master connector? And so let me go to Ivan as the original master connector. How does someone become a master connector?
By first recognizing that it's a journey, not a destination. To me, success comes from doing 6 things 1,000 times, not 1,000 things 6 times. And it's the consistent application of good concepts that yield amazing results. The connector effect is a force multiplier to your efforts. It multiplies the impact that you have on others, which in turn multiplies the impact that it has on you, just like the story of the commercial real estate agent Alan, where he gave and it came back around to him.
Excellent. I love it. So the connector effect is a force multiplier for good. That's terrific. And Diana, how did you become a master connector, and what tips would you have for those listening in today?
I will say it's listening. Ivan has said it. Be more interested than interesting. And coming from a family of 9 siblings, I think I learned to listen more than just speaking out. But one thing I can say about the BNI system and the connector effect is using a tool. And the GAINS tool, which stands for, of course, goals, achievements, interests. And I really want to focus on interests, because if you listen into other people's interests, it's one, you're able to connect quicker, but also many times as people express their interests, you find that there are connections that can be easily made on, from a level of trust. You don't want anything from them, and they're not looking to you to give them anything. But as you seek to help them connect, as you seek to help them achieve what they're looking for when it comes to their interests, it's easy. And one example for me was I had the opportunity of hosting Avril, a master connector in BNI. But our initial conversation started from African baskets. She was interested in African baskets. And I said, I can definitely connect you to somebody who makes these baskets. And, as it was, she ended up visiting Uganda, encouraging my members and really inspiring us. So focus, my tip, listen, but specifically focus on interests, because you build trust on a level of, not much is expected and not much is expected to be given either way.
Terrific. Really great examples. Thank you. And so, Robert, I understand that, your research has identified another important secret that can have a huge effect on increasing the amount of referrals a member may receive.
Yes, absolutely. Diving into the 2020 Palms data, what we've discovered is that members who are in chapters of 50 members or more receive 76% more referrals than members that are in chapters with only 25 members. Well, what happens when you're in a larger chapter and you're listening to more weekly presentations and you're hearing about the target markets and the problems and the opportunities that other members solve? When you're out and about and you're listening, you'll actually hear opportunities to make connections that you actually don't hear when you don't have those members in your chapter. And when you do have a complete referral network where the business categories are filled and you have a chapter of 50 or more members, you're going to the same meetings every week, you're doing the same activities, and yet you're generating 76% more revenue. Graham, I don't know another way that is so easy to generate a 76% increase in revenue than simply working to grow your referral network by filling out your BNI chapter.
I don't know of anything else that a business can do so easily to increase the amount of referrals and close business that they are achieving by these metrics. I mean, this is incredible. So it demonstrates the power of the Master Connector philosophy and approach and just the connector effect in general. So I appreciate that research, and these are impressive numbers. And I have to say, the three of you have shared some really impressive examples of transformation that members have gone through when they've adopted the connector effect principles, especially the Master Connector focus. And so it's not surprising to me that when you build really strong, trusted relationships, we will grow our businesses, we'll have bigger impact on the community, we'll have great life experiences, as Diana pointed out. Ultimately, our businesses will be more successful and those around us will be more successful. That is the overarching goal of the connector effect, and certainly becoming a master connector. And so we hope that each of you listening has a chance to build your networks and invite visitors to your BNI chapter. If you have not had a chance to visit yourself, we warmly invite you to learn more about BNI. For current BNI members, we invite you to do more one-to-ones and continue engaging in lifelong learning through the BNI Business Builder platform, and just continue to focus on BNI's core values. Those core values for 36 years have powered the amazing amount of success that BNI members have had in 70 countries. And so by continuing to focus on that, we can all support each other in any environment. And all of you demonstrated that in 2020. And I still can't get over the fact that the metrics that you have shared here today, Robert, are achievable by any chapter in the world. Today, BNI has over 10,000 chapters. All of those chapters can adopt these principles and experience this kind of success. And so thank you for sharing how accessible that success is for everyone. And so, Ivan, do you have a few last words that you might want to share with today's participants?
I do, and thanks for moderating today's event, Graham. I appreciate it. Here are my thoughts. Your network is a beacon of hope in a sea of fear. The world's a crazy place, but one thing I've seen over and over again is people coming together to help and support one another in BNI and in networks around the world. And I believe that this hope comes easily from BNI's principal core value of giver's gain. To me, giver's gain is more than a phrase. It's a way of living one's life. It's a perspective to view and interact with the world. It's an attitude, not an expectation. And when it's applied properly, it'll change your life. And when it changes enough lives, it will change the world. And that is what the connector effect is all about, is changing people's lives and changing the world. Thank you, Graham.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Thank you so much, Dr. Meisner. Thank you so much, Diana. Really appreciate the examples that you shared and just your passion for the connector effect principles. Robert, thank you for your research and just how much you have supported businesses for your entire career. And certainly now we appreciate your approach and your support. And so I'd like to thank everyone who's participating today. And I would just encourage each of you to consider the examples that you have heard. I think they have inspired all of us to think about a new and bigger future by adopting the connector effect principles and becoming a master connector. All of us can become a master connector. And by doing so, our businesses will be more successful and our communities will be more successful. And that's a great thing. So I also want to take a moment to invite all of you to participate in BNI's 2021 Global Convention. It is going to be the biggest and best event in BNI's history, and we have a lot of great events. And so we encourage all of you to participate and fully enjoy the event. It will have lots of learning opportunities and, of course, transformational opportunities for networking, ways to take your business to an entirely new level and to have fun along the way. That's what it is all about. So we look forward to seeing all of you there. Thank you for attending today's session.
Master connectors exemplify BNI's core values, especially Giver's Gain.